All right, everyone. Sorry it's been a few days. Had to focus on some other things outside of this hobby. But I got to go to a outdoor train meet at Renninger's Market in Kutztown, Pennsylvania. And it's, for those familiar, there's the Hamburg, PA meet that happens, I think, 4 times a year, but with the pandemic, they basically had to stop. So this meet started a little bit smaller, but the last 2 have been much bigger, reasonable size, and it's free admission too. So basically the Hamburg meet, it felt like a lot of the people that go to Hamburg also came here, but you're going to see that whichever meet you go to. So I focused on buildings, and I got 3 new buildings, and I paid more than I ever have for buildings because they were MTH, and that's how it is right now. So I went for buildings and I went for track because I was looking for that unicorn. So I'm looking for this 42-inch curve in 027 profile. So the lower profile where you've got, this is a 31-inch, what regular profile, see how tall it is? Then you go over here, it's a much shorter profile. Actually looks more realistic. I wish I could get a whole layout worth of it, but it's just, I don't know if they even made a 72-inch curve. I learned the hard way, they do make a 54-inch, so I'll start with that. I was going through bins, and I found 2 pieces of what I thought was 42-inch curve. And the gentleman, his name was Osborne, I think that's his last name. I offered him, or I didn't even get to an offer because he said just take it, and he wouldn't take my money. So I got 2 pieces of 54-inch curve, which, as you could see, I need the 42. So I thought I didn't even realize they made it in 54. So I was excited when I saw it at all. But I know where to get the stuff. I was just hoping to hit it at the train meet. So the buildings I got, while we're talking about track, I also got 2 or 3 pieces of the 40-inch section of 027 profile. So the buildings I got were this corner train shop and that high rise in the second row there. And the one I'm going to call this a mistake right now. Let's see if zooming works. This Stowe and Davis Dry Goods and Provision. I didn't realize, I just didn't realize it was one of those like Western Deadwood style, even the sidewalk is a boardwalk. So I kind of made a mistake on that. It obviously sticks out like a sore thumb. So I'm not sure. I might leave it back there and it'll be a little bit of a novelty, but the other thing I'm thinking about doing is printing a new front for it. So coming up with some sort of design that looks reasonably comparable to the city, the 60s city, and just replacing the front. But as I tried to take the face off of it, that glass on the bottom, which looks perfectly fine, the glass looks great, that whole front is one piece. So unless I destroy the that front piece, because I think it'd be pretty easy to make just the top section, just a couple windows and a more, not as old-timey, I'll say. But I might just throw that up on Facebook Marketplace and see what I can get for it. I just made a mistake on that one. So speaking of 3D printing, I got my printer back up and running. That's the noise you're hearing, so I apologize for that. But I'm printing these little toolbox widgets, which are That's the brand name, but they're modular wrench holders or screwdriver holders, and you put them in your toolbox and you put magnets in them and they hold your wrenches and screwdrivers in a straight line. Anyway, on the 3D printing note, something I printed a while back is I printed about 100 of these little rail ties. Not a perfect design. They're supposed to clip on, but they look pretty cool. And from a distance, they look more than adequate for, of course they should be brown if I'm using brown track, but I can always print them in brown. I actually bought brown. So I've got those, and I'll probably put them out at some point, but nothing is screwed down at this point. I just have, it's more or less just the design at this point. And what has changed since we last spoke is I wanted to bring the signal tower into the equation, and I couldn't because the tracks were too far apart like that. So I shifted over the second main line so that these are closer, and which is cool because now the trolley loop is a little more dedicated and a little more, hey, I'm a trolley loop and I'm not just running exactly alongside the the main lines. So that was a big change. Obviously I have my track issue in the middle there. There I got a mess of cars because I was looking for boxes to ship. So I had mentioned earlier on that I had some country houses and suburban houses, and I put those up on Facebook Marketplace, and within a day, not even 12 hours, I had sold them and shipped them off. I got what I paid for them. I didn't want to make anything on them. It was more of a I didn't want to have them sit on Facebook Marketplace for 6 months. I'd rather just sell them. I probably could have made some money on them, but to me, I'm not a dealer. It's not what I'm doing this for. So I shifted the layout of all the buildings. So now that I have multiple 5-story buildings, I was trying to figure out a layout that kind of made sense. So here we go. I moved all the bigger buildings to the left here, and they kind of look good up, next to the beam, which the beam is something I'm definitely going to print something out for. I make it like a true high rise. And that's sort of the reason I put the big, tall buildings right next to it. But it looks like a true city block now. And then on the right here, I've got the shorter ones. I'd still like to pick up another 2 of those row homes, or I'd take 10 of them if I could get them. I think those are all MTH, which means I'll have a hard time finding them for a price I want to pay. I should probably move the hardware store to the back because of the billboard. Swap Bob's Burgers and the hardware store, because I've got 2 hardware stores on the same street and there's going to be a fight. So the back area there, if you notice, it's more of the empty area. I got the power plant back there. It's sort of it's just where leftovers are going right now. And I was looking at Menards, and now that, it's funny, when I first got into this, my father was telling me, just go with, Plasticville sized buildings. It's going to look ridiculous. You're not going to be able to fit all these buildings, these giant buildings, and they're not going to look right with your, your 027 locomotives and your, these little ones compared to these big, MPC era or more scale. But now that I have the square layout, I've got nothing but space. And what I'm thinking I'm going to do is I'm going to make that 3rd row another row of businesses and, similar to this concept, businesses, row homes, whatever. And then I'm going to pick up some of those Menards buildings, or I'm going to start printing some of my own. I don't even want to talk about the design of that, but I've got the layout that can handle the big buildings now. So I'll put up on the screen some of the ones I'm looking at, but some of them have pass-throughs. So the back of them goes over the rail. So you can buy another whole row of, a row of buildings. I don't know that I want a whole row. I might just do, I want to have like that last section be industrial and, very commercial. I'm not looking for houses and stuff. So, and then back right there is kind of the island of misfit houses that don't really belong. I don't really have a home for them yet, but I can get rid of them if I put my mind to it. But the Menards concept, I'll show you what I'm looking at there. What else? Not sure if I mentioned this before, but this loop, I did extend that by 10 inches to bring it further here. And that actually bought me even more room. That made my town square even bigger, my town. You can see everything's out of line. It's nothing screwed in yet. Brought out I moved the diner back up here because it just, with all these tall buildings, it's actually a pretty big, it's more of a scale size. This is the K-Line diner. This thing smokes, it plays music. I think up front in this area makes a little more sense than it did before. Okay, the big thing I wanted to talk about here is, so you see this green, it's nice, I like it. I'm going for a post-war style, so it fits that style. But I do want to, now that I have a proper city, I'm thinking basically this whole area, a square area, just larger than the trolley loop, the 27 profile, will be black or dark gray, for streets. And then I'm going to take all the bases off these buildings, because even within MTH, they didn't match them. Yes, I know I have Lionel's next to MTH, but not all of MTH matches. And I've got some of these, the row homes didn't even come with bases. And that glorious tea house didn't come, I got that secondhand and it didn't have a base. So I'm thinking, remove all the bases. So picture the whole thing black or dark gray, like asphalt. And then I'm going to get foam board and use the foam board to be the sidewalks. So, and then I might do 2 levels. I might get a thicker board. I'm not sure what's out there yet, but if I make the foam board the sidewalk, I'll have a nice even sidewalk, and I can even run the wires for the lights through the foam board and just kind of lay down a row of houses at a time and just have one hole in the platform for every row of lights, or for every set of buildings that have lights. So that's, I'm looking for ideas on what to do for that. I posted on the O-Gagers forum, and they were saying, sandpaper is one, I guess 9 by 11 sheets of sandpaper, but that'd be a lot of it. And I think you would see putting that many pieces of paper together would probably not be inexpensive. And I think it would just, it would probably look great for like, if you were just doing straight streets, but I want to do kind of like, I want to blanket the whole area and make it asphalt. It's not a park. It's not, actually I should have a park area now that I mention it, but I'm looking for ideas for that. Anybody has anything, please comment and let me know. I'm nowhere near starting that part of the project either. I'm going to get things like, the wiring and everything done first, but I've been stalling on wiring because I'm working on building the cabinet. I shouldn't say cabinet, the drawer that's going to go here, that's going to have the transformer and all my controls. It's going to be on a soft close drawer. I already have that picked out. I actually have it upstairs. It's going to be a 33-inch wide drawer that slides out with the transformers. So I've been stalling mostly because I don't have everything I need to build that yet. What else? What else? I think that's, no, oh, so this is a little dopey, but I thought of it. So on my 3D printer, I did a dual Z-axis and ended up with a couple of these lead screws left over, and I'm never going to use them. They're too short for my new, for my taller printer. So I have 2 or 3 of these, and I'm thinking I'm going to cut them down and make them into like pipe loads. Part of this layout is I'm trying to be a little more creative about reusing things and not just throwing things out. So I'm gonna cut those down and make one of my log cars a pipe car. Speaking of cars, a couple weeks ago I picked up these guys, RMTX, and this one is, was it Weaver or AM? Oh, this one's ready-made trains. It is well built, except for I got a broken coupler on it. It's nice. It's got some weight to it. It actually has a physical weight right here in the middle of it. It's got metal trucks with plastic trim on them, but this car has some weight to it, and it still fits in with not going into full scale. And then I've got 2 of these New Haven. Just hoppers, or I can't remember the word, but I got 2 of them, and they were about $25 for 2. So, and these are metal trucks, and these are Lionel, I believe. Oh no, these are Atlas. Huh, my first Atlas anything. But they're nice. They got some weight. They roll real nice. So I've had a busy 2 weeks, but I haven't made much changes. I haven't made a ton of progress. I think I showed you the wall. The wall is up. I'll have to do a tour of that at some point. I'm sure everyone's excited about my fleet of inexpensive Williams and conventional stuff. I think that's about it. Let me know what you think, everyone.